Hey there. It's Monday, and there's no camera today. No camera. Today we're going to be real radio. You just hear me. Why do I not hear me? What's going on with that? Is it here maybe? Check one, two. There we go. 11:03, and another issue with our London station. But today, I guess we can do this when it's just me because it's right here. And I guess this mic is picking us up. I've got a ear earbuds that we're on Instagram today. I'm trying that out. And it's just me. Jane Stahl's off today. So it's just going to be me rambling for 2 hours. And yeah, but there's actually a lot to talk about. So I'm going to be sitting here. We're going to be talking about political differences versus Trump supporters. And I'm trying to decide the people in the world that still support this guy. Some of them are my family. Some of them are personal friends, coworkers here at Yerg's Radio and Mastiff Media. And while, as the owner of Mastiff Media, Yerg's Radio and Rainbow Radio and whatever else, I would never suppress that. If that's who you want to endorse, if that's who you think your guy is, okay. But I think we might be getting to that point where we might not be friends. Because it's been, when did he actually announce? Was it 2016 or 2015? We're looking at 8 or 9 years. 8 or 9 years, and you've had plenty of opportunity in those 8 or 9 years. Why am I hearing a puppy bark? Here she comes. Oh, big dog's up. 8 or 9 years to use Google. 8 or 9 years to do your homework. And I've been wanting to have this talk. I've been wanting to make this decision. Um, you know, what am I really going to feel about people that still support a guy who whose people twice during my career in the Secret Service attempted to take my career by putting together some bullshit investigation a la internal affairs solely for the purpose of pointing out and trying to force me out due to the fact that I'm gay. That's it. No disciplinary issues in recent times. We're all crazy and young, full of piss and vinegar, I think the saying goes. I've got a bigger dog that needs to go out, and I got a puppy that's standing there playing. Of course, a couple moments ago, she tried. No. Oh, puppies. Did you hear that? I'm actually going to have to yell at her in a second. I'm going to mute my mic. All right. But my issue is I've got two brothers who are Trump supporters, as is their family. My baby brother is supposedly over the Second Amendment. He's worried Biden, now Harris, are going to take his guns. Well, remember, this is the flip-flop lady now already. And frankly, I think flip-flopping can be a good thing. You make a statement, you voice your opinion, you find out it differs from a large portion of your constituents. You've got a job to do. And it's not necessarily to voice your opinion as much as it is to voice the opinion of the people you represent. So we're going to do a quick commercial. I'll let the kid out. Those of you joining on Insta, give me a couple minutes. I'll be back. But the big dog's got to pee, and I'm not referring to me this time. 99.1 WDJY, 1490 WWPR. It's Yerg's Radio and the Mastiff Media Network. We'll be back after this.
Smell nasty. Do you want to freshen it up a little bit? Go to aromabypeter.com. Check out all of Peter's candles. It's what we burn here in Studio Yerg's. I'm burning right now leather scented candle. That's right, leather scented. So go to aromabypeter.com/Yerg's and check out his candles today.
I'm Jane Stahl, retired English teacher, and with my BFF, Susan Bebeck, we manage Studio B Fine Art Gallery in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. We showcase the art of hundreds of local artists, publish books of the poetry, prose, and art of local writers, offer classes, art parties, workshops, discussion groups, cater dinners. We've even hosted a wedding. And we're here to be the go-to place for friendship, learning, and fun in our community. Virtual tours of our exhibits are available right here on Yerg's Radio. Let us introduce you to some amazing art and artists.
Check out Jane Stahl and everyone at Studio B in Boyertown, Pennsylvania. Please visit our YouTube channel, Talk TV 24. How's your website doing? I'll tell you how mine's doing. It's awesome. Yergs.com is gotta be the best website for anybody in podcasting or any sort of broadcast solo journalist like me. How did I get that? Limit Break Digital. Limit Break Digital did my website with Yergs.com. They did YergerGroup.com. They take care of my marketing, my branding, and help me get the message out to you. Go to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs for 10% off your next project. That's a $3,000 site, Yergs.com. And you can get 10% off that by just going to limitbreakdigital.com/Yergs today. Talk to Jay. That's my guy. We all got a guy, and Jay's mine. limitbreakdigital.com. Hey gang, it's Yergs. Right now, our country is about to embark on yet another controversial presidential election. I have an actual question, legitimate question, as a political scientist and historian by education. If you are a Trump supporter, I want to hear from you. I want to know what your appeal to Donald Trump is at this time. Please email me news, N-E-W-Z, @yergs.com. News, N-E-W-Z, at yergz.com. Thanks. Participants must be willing to provide their contact information, answer a series of questions, and then have their first name broadcast over the radio and social media relevant to Up the Middle.
All right, gang. That right back down in time. So, yeah. 1-888-88 Yergs. 1-888-88 YERGZ. Give us a call. Give me a call. Those of you get lots of opportunity to wave at a bunch of different people through Instagram. Welcome to those. I don't know how long that's going to last. I don't know how long you can go live for. I don't know if it's like an hour and I can start over because today's 2 hours. I don't know. But I'm thinking, as long as it's just me, why not? My job to come to you. JD. He wants to go outside with a brother, but when you live on a seawall, the larger dog knows better. The puppy does not. Plus, we have these things flying around called ospreys. So that might not end well. But yeah, I want to know what you're all thinking as well. A LinkedIn user. There's somebody, I don't know who they are, but giving us a good morning from Tampa Bay on LinkedIn. Yeah, and I'm guessing some of them are you. You're a Trump supporter, maybe. I don't hate you yet. But I just watched a clip that I've seen a long time ago of this 42-year-old grandmother, mother of 5 or 6 at 42, grandmother to 8. So the whole family's starting young. That's a great thing. Cool. But if you are a single mother of 6, grandmother of 8, perhaps you should behave yourself. And not start going to open up the country rallies during COVID. I don't know, maybe you don't do something like that, and I would still have 6 friends around that are dead. 6 to COVID, 9 to suicide, 2 DUI accidents. What do you do? There's plenty of information out there on all of that. So when something like Donald Trump comes along, I get the initial attraction and fascination. But what did we say? 8 or 9 years now? You've had plenty of time to do your homework. You have had plenty of time to evaluate the appeal that so many others think is genuine, deserved. Yet so many others think is a cult. Want to come up, baby? No. Oh, she goes. Oh, maybe. One of the two reasons we are not on camera today. One of the two reasons we're not on camera today. Over the weekend, this one, and I guess you can see her on Insta. And it's my personal account, by the way. YERGZZ. Michael Yerger has YERGZ. So when I saw that, I thought, well, let's see if he's got the domain. And he didn't. I wound up not eating that day because I had no groceries at home. And I had no money once I bought Yergs.com. And I will skip dinner if it means I re-register that site. Speaking of which, the secure socket layer has expired. So if you try to go to Yergs.com, please do. But type in http://Yergs.com. If you were to type in www, it would immediately translate that to HTTPS, which stands for Secure Socket Layer. And mine expired. So there's that. I got to renew that later today. It's going to be a long day. We got the show. I've got my minivan from when I was in that one car accident when a curb snuck up on me about 3-4 weeks ago. That's getting fixed tomorrow. So I got to get a tow truck to hike that to the place. And got to get a tow truck to hike that to the place. I've got to get Winston Chew on cable for my earbuds, Instagram. And that's one of the two reasons why we're not on the air today with a camera, because she chewed the cable to the dummy battery on my Sony camera. The other reason is we're actually doing a little bit of reorganizing, remodeling. The monitors are now what I called Hollywood Squares style. They were side by side, all four of them. And I was in like this semicircle of monitors. And it sucked because going from all the way right to all the way left, especially if I was clicking and, dragging and dropping, or even just, to look at different information. Now, the two, what are they, Ultra, the 37-inch monitors, are on top of each other, with the curved one being on top. So it's even more angled to me. And then the 28-inch monitors are over top of each other in the same type of fashion. And yeah, everything is just nice. We're on 2 Twitter Spaces today and every day. We're on 1, 2, should be on 3, probably 4 internet radio stations, but our London affiliate has been crapping out. We just lost our Ring Central. That just shut down because it's updating. It's awesome, and it's right in the middle of a show. Although we're probably getting rid of that the end of next month anyway. We're going with a local subscriber or supplier. That's a fraction of the price. What else? So yeah, I've got 2 brothers and their families. I don't think the one sister-in-law, my baby brother's wife, who's also in the government, is a fan. But my middle brother, I'm the oldest. My middle brother, they're like all. I mean, my 20-year-old nephew carries a gun. He's not even old enough yet. My 25 or 6-year-old niece carries. My whole family, and I have no problem with that. But what throws me every time are all these Bible thumping conservatives. And I'm a gun carrier. I'm pro Second Amendment. I'm pro smart Second Amendment because I will say we as a community are doing an absolutely horrible job policing ourselves. And that's why you hear people like Kamala Harris saying it's time for a weapons ban. Because maybe it is. If we can't play with our toys, right, Mama Kamala's going to take them. I don't want that. I'm not for that. But I'm not going to vote for a tyrant, for an autocrat, for a wannabe dictator just because I want to keep guns that he's going to take anyway. Don't think he's not. That's how this happens. When Jon Stewart did a feature on him and everything he wants to do and has done and so on, he played the clip of him saying, I just want to be a dictator for one day. And it cut back to John, and he does this reassuring type of smile into the camera and says, just so you know, that is how it starts. And he's right. People don't like those on the left or those of us that are independent can think for ourselves and have realized this is actually the case, who associate Trump with Hitler. Well, let's review. His now suspiciously dead ex-wife, who was very quickly buried in a trashy grave, not what you would expect from Donald Trump, has on more than one occasion told the world he reads Hitler. Speeches, Mein Kampf, whatever. His behaviors are identical to that type of autocrat, to that type of dictator. Saying things with emphasis, saying things multiple times, knowing that in neither occasion are they true. But, oh, well, why would he lie to us? So it must be true. If any other politician was married 3 times and cheated on all 3 wives, all 3 whites, all 3 white wives, you would never consider that person as your candidate for family values. If any other politician went bankrupt 6 times, already starting his life as a millionaire, and needed daddy to bail him out, you would never expect that candidate to fix the economy. And if you ever had any candidate who, again, was married 3 times, which means he was divorced, which means he did not honor his vows till death do us part, walked through a church service in the middle of collecting the offering, money. And he turns to a senior staffer and says, "What a sham that it is. What a sham that is." Now, I don't know if he actually held the Bible upside down that day when he was at the north end of Lafayette Park. I think it's St. John's. It's at G Street and 16th. I don't know if it was upside down or not. If it was upside down, clearly that's actually blasphemy. It's at very least amazingly disrespectful. But this is a guy who admits that he's not religious and then turns around and says how much he loves the Bible. And it's very personal to him, so he doesn't want to give any favorite verse from it because he doesn't know it. And after 8 or 9 years of you being pulled in by what is frankly nothing more than bullshit, you're too embarrassed to admit it. I once said that the people who are still following Donald Trump are the uneducated, maybe not all their followers that had been there, from whenever. And David Beckmeyer, one of the podcasters that repurposes his material to us at Mastiff Media, said no. Your biggest difficulty are going to be with the ones who are, quote unquote, educated, because they've talked to themselves in saying that I'm so smart. This guy would never fool me. He must be right. And I must be right for following him. And I'm like, Jesus, that's my brothers. Graduates of really good schools, both a private high school. Maybe you got to get down for a minute. Both a private high school and good colleges. I just got to let everybody know that's watching that there's no cameras today. We're getting some comments like, "Hey, where are you?" I put that across the bottom. No camera today. If you're on any of the 13 video capable destinations, platforms. No camera because the puppy, my son's new dog, chewed the cable that goes to what's called a dummy battery. You put it in where a battery would go, but instead of it being a battery, it's a connection to a wall outlet. Well, she chewed the hell out of that. It's now in 3 pieces. Plus, with the new monitors and such, we're doing some remodeling anyway. So they were going to come down. But now they're down. Both cameras. I still have one dummy battery. You didn't get that one. But I took that down with the Veripole that was wall to wall above me. Actually, when it fell. So We're figuring out the rest of the studio. Quite happy, though, with version 4.3, which is what we're at right now. Once we figure out the new camera setup, because we have been going with this for a little bit, we'll get back to 4.4 and being on video, even though it's a radio show, whatever else. So I got to take one more break. I think my dog's ready to, the big dog is ready to come in. So 99.1 WDJY, Yerg's Radio, and the entire Mastiff Media network will be back after this.
From iHeart Podcasts.
What the hell is going on in here?
Everyone has their limits.
I'd never confronted a situation like this.
The numbers were being inflated and lied about and conflated.
I just thought it was just a really terrible, immoral thing for him to do.
A line they won't cross.
I was stunned, and I just said to him, no.
We're killing people. What exactly are we doing here?
I remember him saying, in this 007 evil villain kind of way, this is the beginning of a process.
You may never have to face that decision. When you find yourself at that line,
Thoughts racing, hearts racing, emotions are all over the place.
They could be harassed, they could be imprisoned, they could be killed.
Somebody needs to just, for once, give everybody the whole truth.
I'm like, this is evil.
and the only person who can sound the alarm is you.
She folded it up, put it in her pantyhose, and walked out of the building.
Yeah, I really am the world's dumbest criminal.
These are the whistleblowers.
I wasn't just going to sit silently by.
I was told you take your questioning black self and get it on up out of my facility because you're trouble.
The message is, if you are disloyal, if you speak out, you will pay.
This is what it's like when the president decides he wants to destroy you.
Bad things are going to happen to him.
You're anti-American. You are
a disgrace to our country. He should be prosecuted.
When power corrupts, conscience is the last line of defense.
Is it ever too late to do the right thing?
We talk about institutions, but they're really about individual people.
The responsibility drops in everybody's lap.
I'm Miles Taylor. The Whistleblowers premieres Thursday, July 13th on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Check out Miles Taylor and the Whistleblowers. I've referenced that plenty of times throughout Up the Middle, Both Sides Now, and Yerg's Tonight. He does an excellent job telling the stories of various people who blew the whistle on the Trump administration and their reasons why, personal and professional, as well as the consequences that these people paid to get the truth to the public. Check out the Whistleblowers on Apple, iHeart, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. The July date that he mentioned is from 2023, and season 1 is complete. It's excellent, and it's still very relevant, probably now more than ever. So I certainly recommend that you give it a look. See you again.
Oh, what's going on here? So I realized that the overlay drowns out video. So I need to shut that off every time. And then when it comes back, there's something I know I could do, but I don't need to run OBS when I'm not really on camera. I could put a screen up on OBS, which is what my camera feed goes through. And instead of having to worry about you can take that down and there's virtual. There we are. Mastiff Media, run with the big dogs. I don't know if you can see it on the Instagram. It's it there. So 8 or 9 years. And By the way, we got the morning toast coming up, as well as the inspirational thing that we do. 8 or 9 years. I would think that at some point you can go, hey, because I've done it with Kamala. I've done it with Joe. I don't agree with everything that they stand for. I don't think that she's even going to get close to an assault weapons ban. There's too many. 20% of Democrats carry a gun. No, that's not. 20% of Democrats are for the Second Amendment. 20% of Democrats carry a gun. So now let's do the math. If our country is as divided as the media is telling you, and let's say it is that close. Let's say it is down the damn middle, 50-50. That means with independents divided equally as even and thrown in with the side that they support more, right-leaning or left-leaning. If we have roughly 50% Democrats, 50% Republicans, you know you're not going to get enough vote from the Republicans. That ain't happening. So there's 50% against your assault weapons ban. You need some of them to come over to your side, and you need all of your side. 20% of Democrats carry a gun. What do you think they're going to say? How do you think they're going to vote when it comes to banning the assault weapons they probably own already? And they talk about buyback programs, mandatory or voluntary, whichever. Never happen, because the government is not going to pay the retail price that these people bought it for. Never happen. So there's 70%, roughly, 68, 65, 64, 60, against your assault weapons ban. You need 51 at least. And with that slim of a margin, should you get that, you still will have plenty of violence that you will not survive. I don't mean that literally as in like you're going to die. I'm saying anybody who was for that assault weapons ban is going to lose their job. Like gay marriage in the earlier 2000s and before, the country's not ready for it yet. And I agree. I don't think it's the guns. We had, up till the 70s, we had a lot of highway fatalities with certain vehicle and road conditions. We fixed the roads. We increased restrictions on DUIs and increased penalties along with it. And what happened? They went down. They didn't take cars away. We didn't ban alcohol, because we tried that before too, by the way, to amazing disaster. When are we going to learn? And I ask that question to the 2A people as well, to my fellow 2A people as well. We need to do better at policing ourselves, or someone is going to do it for us. That someone might not be Kamala Harris because of the 20%. Because of the 20% of, scratch. 20% of Democrats that carry. We know that. I just got to reply to our Mirror Mirror Monday lady. So I don't think we're going to see it in Kamala Harris's time. What we would see is in the event that, in the event that we don't pull our heads out of the barrel of our gun or out of our ass, we're going to lose that 20%. It's going to become 19. And it's going to become 18. And it's going to get lower and lower. And in the process, there's going to be people in that 18 or 19 or 14, whatever it comes down to percent, who still carry, but may not feel as strong about military-style weapons. And I say that trying to sound a little educated about the issue because there are no such thing as assault weapons. Every weapon is for an assault, even if it's in self-defense. That's called a counter-assault. So shout out to everybody still with us on Instagram, trying this today. You're listening to Up the Middle. Or actually, you're watching Up the Middle. You're the only one actually watching today. Our studio cameras are down for some remodeling and some replacement of a cable, courtesy of my 8-week-old puppy. We're talking about political differences versus Trump supporters. Is there a difference? Could you get into a relationship with somebody on the other side if you're a Trump supporter with, a person who's woke, we'll say? Like obviously, I have 2 brothers that I thought were smarter than this. And this is the other thing that's really changed. My mom keeps saying this example. Back when I was first able to vote, I was initially for, she's got this part right, I was initially for Ross Perot. College kid, we're going to change things, that whole deal. Just initially wasn't impressed by Bill Clinton. Already knew Trump Sr. was kind of part of the problem. I'm not prepared to say that we're in a recession as he's flying around on Air Force One. People can barely drive. You should probably be prepared to say it. And Clinton was. Perot was. But then Perot, having a great lead in the polls, just up and drops out. And we're like, what? And that's when I, no longer supported him, even though he came back. I'm like, no, a president isn't going to drop out. President's going to stay at it and campaign and work and whatever. So I actually voted for Clinton. And up until 2016, and continuing with 2020, and I anticipate 2024 being the same. I called every single one, again, with the exception of 2016. And I think we know that wasn't just voting that scored that victory. Excuse me. I have had the worst sore throat. I can sneeze, I can yawn, and I get an excruciating pain from it. So if you're joining on Instagram, send me a text. Send me a text. Give us a call, 1-888-88-YERGS. Let me know if you can hear through this earbud. It's actually registering because it's on my phone, which is not hooked to the system. Totally separate. At least give us a text. Yes, I can hear you. Sounds shitty, but I can hear you. So Marcella says she's going to check in today. We'll see what happens. I'll send her this link. Where's that? There we go. If you do. So what do you do? Somebody's checking in on Instagram today. I can't read the screen name because it's too far away, but they can hear. Okay, so what do you do when your spouse, when a coworker, when a friend, another family member is a part of that other side today? And I'm telling you the Ross Perot story because, at least initially, I supported Ross Perot. My mom supported Bill Clinton. And my dad supported H.W. Bush. The entire family was split. My kid brothers weren't voting yet. So we were essentially all awash had Perot not dropped out. I then switched to Biden, or excuse me, to Clinton. What got me with him was when he made the appearance on Arsenio Hall. I didn't think that would going to make him a good president. I thought that would make him able, which was the case, to on some level better relate to the people he's representing. Kind of important. Mr. I'm not afraid to, or I'm not prepared to say that we're in a recession. Or people who say they're going to ban assault weapons when that's not even the weapon they're talking about. Military style weapons. And they say they're going to do that without any close amount of support to do so. Clinton was in touch. But when we all disagreed, and even when Mom and I still disagreed, because she was the first Clinton supporter in the family, we didn't hate each other. There were simple differences, and that was it. But none of those three wanted an absolute takeover of the government, of the country. And I love when Trump supporters say, Oh, he's not going to do that. First question, how do you know? Second question, who the hell are you? 44. You know what that number is? 44? With regards to the Trump administration? He has had 44 members fill his cabinet. 4 of them have endorsed him. Was former Vice President Mike Pence one of them? No. And like I said, most of his cabinet has not endorsed him for 2024. Some were already out in 2020. But who the hell do you think you are? You know better than Mike Milley? Oh, I think she... She is not showing up. And she says she's on. So we're going to have Mars in a minute. Those of you new, Marcella is my co-host on a show that's on vacation for the summer called Psycho and the Psychic. She's the psychic. There she is. I need to put up a change to an overlay here on Restream. I'm not using cameras today, but I do need to actually activate her. Let's do that now while she's here. Mirror, Mirror Monday. And the lovely Marcella. Hey there.
Hey, good morning. How are you?
Up and moving. We're going cameraless today. True radio.
I see that. Well, maybe I hear that.
Yeah.
What's happening in your world?
Well, we lost a cable that connects to what's called a dummy battery.
Mm-hmm.
The camera to the wall. It's like looks like a battery that goes to the camera, but instead of being one, it's just a plug, a connection that goes to an outlet and a plug or to an outlet and constant electrical source. But yeah, somebody is teething and decided to chew it into 3 pieces.
Your new little girl?
Yeah. Papa's
Mm-hmm.
girl.
Yep. So you should be a girl dad. What's that?
What's new?
Oof. Let's jump right into it. It's tough being a psychic.
Oh.
It is.
What did you see coming?
Well, about 2 months ago, I went to visit a friend and his wife. And this is a friend I've had since middle school. So I met him when I was 11 years old. And we went to middle school, high school together, and then kept in touch on and off throughout the decades afterwards.
Yeah.
And the last time I actually saw him was 14 years ago when my son turned 21. They came here for my son's birthday party. And then, like I said, sporadically, we'd keep in touch. Well, I heard from him earlier in the year, and he told me that his wife wasn't doing well, that she had been moved to a hospice. And back in June, I went to see her. And I remember going with, the former partner. We went to go buy her a gift, and I said, you know what? I'm going to get her something I would like because I don't know her that well. I just know that she's incredibly kind. So I got her one of those adult coloring books and some markers, and I figured, she could just sit and do something with her time. It'll preoccupy her for a bit while, she's getting poked and prodded and blood taken, all that other shit. And he comes to me with this little pillow, and it's got 2 slots in it for you to put your feet. And I'm thinking to myself, she's never going to use that. But I didn't say it out loud. And he says, we should get this. And I said, I don't know if that's appropriate. I said, let's get her flowers. But he bought her the pillow anyway. And the whole time I'm sitting here thinking, I'm still sitting here thinking, she's not going to use that pillow. She's never going to use it because she's not going to go home. But I didn't say it out loud. I don't like saying things like that out loud. Well, we went to see her, and I sat with her, and when I held her hand, I knew. But I didn't want to say that to her or her husband. I gave her words of encouragement, which is what you're supposed to do. I tell her, you look so beautiful. I'm so happy to be here. I said, and I cannot wait to come back and visit you again. And I just kept telling her the things we would do when she left the hospital. And her husband sent me this beautiful message. He's, like I said, he's my good friend since childhood. He said, right. You made her smile, and that means more to me than anything in the whole world. They were together 25 years, married for 23, and she was his whole world. So I remember reaching out to him last week because I knew it was coming. And I just said to him, hey, how's everything going? How is she doing? He says, well, they took her out of the hospice. Now we're back in the hospital. And, there's been some complications. And I said, it's okay. Everything is going to turn out okay. And he says, I know. I just, I'm here every day with her. He spent every single day with her.
Sure.
So I reached out to another friend of mine, and I said, we should really make an effort to go see Rob and his wife before anything happens. And my friend is like, yeah, sure. Let's plan that. That was last week. Yesterday morning, I get a text from the other friend, and he says, did you see Rob's post? And I said, oh no, it happened already. So I just reached out to him, and I said to him, she is a beautiful, wonderful person. She has the kindest heart of anyone I've ever met. I'm always going to remember her like that. And she'll always be in my heart. And so will you. Please let us know if there's anything we can do to help. And he just thanked me. He says, I appreciate you so much. It's sad. It's
right.
sad because I knew it was coming. And there was nothing that I could do.
Well, I mean, I got to disagree there. I think you did everything that you could do.
I mean, I couldn't say anything to him. If I had told him, he would have been waiting for it. He would not have enjoyed every last moment with her.
No, and you made the right call there. If there was something that perhaps he didn't know this was coming, and you could have given them a heads up to make better preparations, which in this case they've already done.
Well, on Friday he told me he signed a DNR, and yeah, he was encouraged to do that. So he says, I'm just going to sign it, and then Sunday morning. So. And when he told me he was going to sign the DNR, I said, shit, it's happening really fast. I didn't expect it to happen so soon. I thought she'd have a few more months, maybe the fall,
Was it cancer?
She was diabetic and suffered some other complications due to that. And she's had a breathing tube in for 8 months now. And he would tell me all the time, she just wants her life back. She just wants to get off of this tube and to be up and walking around with me and hold my hand outside. They wouldn't even let him take her outside on a wheelchair, which I thought was incredibly cruel, considering that if he had been able to put her in a chair and take her for walks, that might have helped her a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
But I mean, is that while she was on the air tube?
He says because they can hook that up to the chair, to the wheelchair. There are ways of doing it. There are plenty of other people who do it. I think the hospice just didn't want any problems. They didn't want to be a liability, and so they would say no. And she was right by the water. It was a really nice view. So I said to our mutual friends, the world has lost an incredible soul, and heaven has gained the most amazing angel. It's just really sad, you know. This just happened yesterday. So, in other news, I don't know if I mentioned this to you or not. I can't remember the last time we spoke. I got my first sale on my site.
You said you just did a reading.
I did. I did a reading last week. I got my first sale. Someone booked a reading through the site. I was very excited because the site is up and running. It still needs work. There's a lot of maintenance going on there, but there is the ability to book a reading with me.
That's key.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm very excited. So that's what's happening there.
Where you at, Marcella? I gotta find your there we go. We can still use the other graphics. Going on the radio, go to marcella.com, MarcCella.com. And I'm telling you, she's read me a couple times. And wow, spot on. Like it's not even close. And maybe there's always the potential or the desire or the ability, the opportunity to perhaps read into something that she says. Best thing you can do is just let it go. Let it happen. Because one of the things she told me in an earlier reading, this was a while ago, I think.
When we met?
Yeah, I don't know exactly when, because you'd given me a reading after that too. But that this was going to be a very financially successful year for me.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people think, I'm going to hit the lottery. I'm going to get rich.
Oh, boy.
Actually, no, you know what? You didn't say it was going to be successful. It was going to be a big year for me financially, which could be bad.
It could be, but I didn't think that it was.
So at that moment already, I was having trouble with my mortgage because my homeowner's insurance went up drastically per month. And in the process of all that, and kind of sort of having forgotten about the reading itself, which I say that to kind of reassure that I didn't get on top of it to influence your reading. Or it wasn't something that says, oh, hey, she said I'm kind of a big thing. I got to do this. Just being a responsible homeowner, I got the legal help to restructure my mortgage, which means instead of refinancing, which would have actually doubled my interest rate, I restructured, which keeps my interest rate, which is low. I got 3.5 something or whatever it is right before interest rates skyrocketed 2.5 years ago.
Wow.
And so I maintain that interest rate. Everything that I had fallen behind on now gets put to the end of the mortgage. So I got to pay that in 30 years from now. And on top of that, I'm finally again getting the financial aid for my son for his living expenses and college expenses and so on. That we had been denied a long time ago.
Wow.
And yeah, it might not be rich money wise, dollar for dollar, but being able to easily pay bills again, being able to get a decent night's sleep, not having to worry about whether or not I'm going to pay bills, watching my credit score go back up almost immediately. Just such an amazing feeling.
I'm really happy for you.
So you guys got to give Marcella the opportunity to give you the same reading that I got.
Oh, I've got a shameless plug.
That's what you're here for.
It's not just me. Do you remember my good friend Sonia Chand?
Sure.
She was on our show. We talked about autism. Sonia hosted us last week and interviewed Luna from La Petite Lune. Yeah. She interviewed Luna on Friday, and that episode should be up, I don't know, maybe in a week. And it was actually a really awesome interview. Luna was everyone who has seen clips of it is now saying she's such an eloquent child. And I said, well, the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. But honestly, it was a beautiful interview. She talked about being bullied and some events that happened at school to make her realize that she's got to uphold her boundaries. It was beautiful.
Nice.
So as soon as we have a link to it, I'm going to be sending that to you and to everyone else.
Very key. Very cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Remember that commercial that you guys sent me?
Oh yeah. We gotta work on that. She's had a lot of other things going on
because it didn't translate to radio because it was too.
She's gonna. You know what? Let me talk to her. She's still home. She doesn't start school until next week. So let me talk to her and see what we can come up with today. She's working on a lot of her new products.
Nice.
And she's working really hard. And she's been reading, which is another thing. She had lost the love of reading. And this summer she's read 10 books.
Because of the family dynamic over the summer, or what?
She lost the love of reading years ago. She wasn't interested in it, and her grades suffered a little bit, not too much, but a little bit, because she just wasn't spending the time to read through things. And this summer, I promised her she'd be rewarded for reading, but that I wanted to see book reports as well. Well, a really good friend, sent her a t-shirt, a gaming t-shirt for girls, which she really loved. That was one of her prizes. And then sent her another one. I don't remember what that one was. I haven't looked at it. But she's already received gifts from people, prizes for having found her love of reading again. And at the end of the summer, I'll be gifting her something else. I think it's going to be a trip to Cheesecake Factory. That is her favorite thing in the whole world. So, and she's been asking me to go. What's that?
The Cheesecake Factory?
It's her favorite place to go. Yeah.
Not a bad place.
Well, here's the thing. We all know that Luna is autistic, as am I. We have challenges going out to eat unless it's someplace local. If it's local, she feels safe because she knows home is just a few steps away.
Right.
The Cheesecake Factory is pretty far from us. But she enjoys the atmosphere so much. It's very, it's not dark, but the lighting is very low. And there's this chocolate cake that she loves, and there's some other things. So she gets very happy, and she'll get her headset on. So, she's wearing her headset, her, what do you call those things? Her Beats. She's wearing her Beats, and she knows that the outside world is drowned out by whatever she's got playing. And she feels a lot more comfortable. But it's a guilty pleasure for her, other than maybe going to Universal Studios. But it's a guilty pleasure, and we don't get to do it often. I think the last time we went was last year for Angelica's birthday. So she's asked me, she says, can we go? And I think that's what I'm going to do for her. I think because she just finished another book today. That's 11 books this summer, and she's handed me 10 book reports so far.
Wow.
So I had to find a way for her she doesn't like going out. There's a sprinkler across the street. Occasionally we go. When it gets too crowded, she wants to leave. So I've had to find a way for her to keep herself busy other than doing the work, playing her video games, going for walks on her scooter. So we started reading again. And 11 books later, she's just like, I cannot wait for the next series. I cannot wait for the next book. It's amazing. So yeah, I think that's how I'm going to gift her. I'm going to take her to Cheesecake Factory to reward her for everything. Yeah, she's a good girl. Yeah, she's an awesome kid, if I do say so myself. And I cannot wait for this interview so that we can all hear it and everyone else can see how awesome she is.
Very nice.
Mm-hmm. So what do you guys have going on for the rest of the day?
I got another 45 minutes of this.
Where's your co-host?
She is out today. So just
Oh.
2 hours instead of 1.
And what are you talking about?
Political differences
Ugh.
versus
Time for me to go.
Trump supporters. What's that?
Time for me to go.
Yeah. I figured you wouldn't be staying long.
I'm not gonna listen to this nonsense. You know that.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
I do need to ask you.
Yes.
I saw a post
Mm-hmm.
by a colleague of yours. I have no idea who she is. I've never seen her before.
Okay.
Another psychic that uses cards.
A colleague of mine?
Yeah, a fellow psychic. Like, I'm not saying you know her or anything. Just she's a psychic that uses tarot cards as you do.
Well, let's not get it twisted. You know that I don't need the tarot, right?
Right.
I just love having them. I love because I stim. So I need something for my hands. It's either my tarot deck or my rosary. And I think people would probably prefer it if I had a tarot in my hand. Plus people like a visual. But I don't need them. So who is this person and what did you see?
And the other thing about, rosary is, defined more toward Catholicism. And
But I am Catholic, Ross.
But I mean, if your client isn't, that
exactly.
might
But I mean, you're coming to me for a reason. If I'm wearing a rosary, who cares? It has nothing to do with you. Where do you think my gifts come from?
Yeah.
I mean, call them whatever you want. The universe, the creator, divine, call them whatever you want. I get my gifts from them, they don't just come from me. It has to come from somewhere. And then people say, no, it's all me. That's your ego. I'm humble enough to know that this comes from them. Someplace there. So what did you see and what was your question?
So my own analysis of what's been happening, I do not think, and without boring you with all my analysis and the reasons and whatever, point being, I do not think the November election is going to be close. I think it's going to be rather decisive, not just for the presidency, but also for the Congress in favor of the Democratic Party. The media,
my prediction,
everything else. This lady is saying essentially that she agrees with me. She has no idea who I am, but she and I are thinking the same way.
I see.
I wanted to know just if you get vibes from what exposure you do have to the political spectrum right now, or the atmosphere.
That's the problem, Ross. I keep myself away from it deliberately. Yeah. I mean, it doesn't mean that I won't vote. I will vote.
Yeah.
I keep myself away from it deliberately because of all the toxicity that comes from both sides, not just one, from both sides.
Right. No,
and it doesn't necessarily mean that the candidate is as toxic as the energy I'm receiving, but a lot of people that are surrounding them, the energy, if you understood what it's like to be me and a lot of other people like me, we can only handle so much. And then people will say, oh, if you knew what you were doing, but no. A lot of us are plagued with autoimmune diseases and other things that prohibit us from being more interactive with things like this, situations like this. So I keep myself away from that. I have my own opinions when I go to vote, but I don't want to make commentary. And it's not that I don't want to be wrong, because it's 50-50. It can go either way. I haven't been wrong yet. And I still will not make a prediction. I don't want that energy around me.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. I mean, that's kind of what we've been talking about today. My argument is you've had 8 or 9 years, you being anybody out there with an opinion, has had 8 or 9 years to do research on this guy. As you know, I'm no fan of Donald Trump.
I know that. I see way too many things. One of my best friends is incredibly political and he's posting things all the time. And I have to take a deep breath and say, okay, I just got to move on from this post because I can't tell him not to be who he is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's it.
But if you're on TikTok, I will connect you. Actually, you know my friend Brock.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
One of my closest friends. And a brilliant person. I just don't like the politics. So maybe I'll just connect the two of you. You have someone to talk to about it.
Nice.
Yeah.
Really?
I'll do that today.
Would we get along or would we not so much?
I think like with every other relationship that you have where politics are concerned, there's always that 50-50 chance. I think in some ways you will agree and some ways you may not. And you're very strong, both of you, in your convictions. So I think it would be a really good conversation between you both. I don't want to make commentary because I don't want to have to choose sides, because he's
100%.
yeah.
Get into that.
Yeah, let's not do that. So, but I will make the connections with you because I think that you would enjoy talking to him. He's a wonderful person.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, I remember he guest on our show, but
he was our first, wasn't he? He called in just to say hi. He's very supportive.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, then. I'm going to head out.
All right, my dear.
Full day. Love talking to you. Cannot wait for us to pick up our shows. Yeah, I'll actually probably call you tonight or text me when you're free today so I can fill you in on our schedule on what we should be doing. Okay? All right.
Love you. All right,
okay. All right, bye.
Marccella.com, MarCella.com, 2 C's, 2 L's. Get your reading. Worth every penny. Do it. All right, dear. I'll see you again.
Bye.
All right, there she goes. Yeah, good time for a break. We'll finish up talking about exactly how we handle those family members and who else. And yeah, it's frustrating. We lost the Instagram thing, by the way. It stops at 1 hour. I learned that. So I don't know if we can do it from a desktop. I don't know. But 99.1 WDJY, 1490 WWPR, and everybody at the Massive Media Network. It's yours. We'll be back after this. Where is it? Oh, I need a producer.
Do you have a podcast? Of course you do. It's probably one of the reasons why you listen to us. Well, I got something for you. Flowsend.ai. All you do is take your pre-recorded data, click, drag, and drop right into the inbox for Flowsend AI. Click a button, and out comes everything that you're going to need. From the transcript to content such as keywords, titles for your episode, the timeline, posts for LinkedIn, posts for Twitter, Instagram, other smaller platforms, all the things that it takes you hours to do in literally minutes. So go to flowsend.ai. Tell them Jurg sent you and get your subscription today. Worth every penny. Flowsend.ai.
I will be back for a little bit. I almost had a heart attack just now. When I go on breaks like that, I check the connection on the affiliate stations, and I thought I was on 99.1, and I was on one of the other stations that were actually not on in the second hour. That's the other station in Atlanta. And I freaked because it shows here that we are on 99.1. And we are 99.1 WDJY. Thanks for joining. Let's see, the UG.media is our station in London. We're figuring out some snags there. We're actually not live every day there. I thought we were. I think that's where some of the problem came from. They had to disconnect us because we were cutting into the system when we weren't scheduled to. So that's kind of bad. But we'll figure that out and get back with them. For the rest of the schedule in London, we're sharing episodes once they're recorded. So, and that's why I didn't think we weren't every day, because I don't have a way to share episodes with them. Neither of us have shared Dropbox or Google Files or anything to share data, to share episodes. So there's that one. Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, they're alive and well. The social media platforms are just with the logo, the thumbnail. Right now you're seeing Mastiff Media. Website coming soon, mastiff.media. So the company, this is cool. I like this. The London company is the UG, whatever that stands for. I have no idea. I keep forgetting it. I thought it's, well, I mean, initially I thought it stood for the Underground because they're kind of a little rebellious. But it stands for something else. I remember it as the Underground, so I go the UG, as in underground, .media. That's their suffix, not .com, not .co, not .uk, just .media. So now I rebrand Yerg's Media, which was just kind of sort of there. It wasn't really, but I needed a doing business as to come a step down from the Yerger Group, the main parent company. Because I've also got the hospitality side that is spinning its wheels right now because this is keeping me busy. So I created Mastiff Media to be the actual, I didn't want my name on everything. That's not me. You know that I'm behind all this. You know that dog that you now see on the logo. And by the way, should soon be seeing on what are called mic flags. You know, when you see a reporter out in the street and they got a handheld microphone and there's that little foamy thing or whatever around it that says the Weather Channel, CNN, whatever. We've had them made for the bigger company instead of going with Yerg's Radio or Rainbow Radio and having to get one for each and changing them out when we're on both anyway. I got them for Mastiff Media. I got a couple. So there's one for this new mic that we have here. And it's going to go over the U-shaped shock mount. And it's going to be plain as day. Sides will have Mastiff Media or mastiffmedia.com or something like that, or mastiff.media. I think the sides are going to have the web domain. And then the front and the back, because you have no idea where a camera angle is going to be. So the front and the back are going to have the dog head, Mastiff Media, or mastiff.media as far as like the name. The thing of it is, I was smart enough, I think, to realize that the camera ain't going to be right up on it. It's going to be from across the table, from across the studio, whatever. So simple, larger font. Like what you see on the screen, if I remember correctly, I could probably find it quick, but if I remember correctly, that head is bigger and it's up higher. And I don't even know where I put these things. Flag panels. Let's see if it's there. The other ones are. Of course, this one isn't. I was going to have them for Jurg's radio. And I'm glad I didn't because, and I was also with, by the way, with the other mic, the MB7. So clearly, the flag panels, wherever I have them, are not in the folder where other flag panels are. So that's awesome. Oh, there's another panel of flag panels. So let's see what's here. It's the same one. Damn it. I have no idea where these would be. Would also help if I could see. I'm so getting blind. Gotta use the extra large icons. Add sponsors, comedy. Equipment, maybe there. Nope. Rainbow Radio, seasonal, social media and logos. Nope. I'm not seeing this. I don't know why I would not have saved these. Like, what would you not? There's a bunch of things I did with other Mastiffs. But again, it's not the flag artwork. There's also so much, like I just checked out Rainbow Radio. There's so much there that's not there. There's another folder here. I think that might be the... You see, the Jurg's radio were cool. They were green with black letters and yeah, but no luck. I mean, maybe if I just opened Canva, and I could still share on the screen, which is all I was going to do anyway. or put it in the show notes, or just I'll just make you wait till next week. That's the MV7 flag. All right. See what we can do here. I think I found, at least through Canva, where I made them in the first place. So that is a side panel for when I had Jurg's radio, when I was doing Jurg's radio. This is a side panel for Mastiff Media. I think this is resized, so I think these are all kind of screwed up, because that's blank. So, but you're seeing, see what I mean when I say I put the this is a side. It's not the main front or back panel. And that's way too small. This isn't the right one. I don't know what that, I must have. Because here, I must have edited and didn't keep it properly, because here is the first one that I did with Moby and Matrix. Those are my actual dogs. But I still have Run with the Big Dogs on it. It's still Mastiff Media. There's no domain on it, which is a fail. This one says it's the MV7 flag. So this is also what I did, and I think this is more. So I still have my MV7 mics. If you remember, what I wanted to do was make the over the U-shaped flag for an MV7, like the one that I'm getting for this mic. But that U-shaped bracket is smaller. So I needed to send them the horseshoe so they could measure it, because they haven't done that for an MV7 yet. So they took the measurement. They kind of hee-hawed around a little bit, to be honest. They sent it back. We decided, for whatever reason, not to go with it. I think their lack of communication, plus my not realizing they're not communicating, and followed by my lack of communication, it never came to fruition. The actual flag for the MV7, what I used to use, and what I will still use for in-studio guests, goes on the back. It's a cube that has a hole in it, the diameter of the mic, and it slides on the back, and it's got another hole for the wires to come out the back. And it just goes around there. And, you know, we can still use that for the other mics, and that's what I had made. In addition to this one, I had, I don't know how many other, basically mathematically, if you buy 5, I think it was 4 or 5, whatever it is, it's X dollars per flag. Came like almost more than $200. If I get a 6th one, I think the price goes down from 45 each to 39 each. But mathematically, your 6th flag is free, because it's actually like $2 cheaper than buying 5 flags, or maybe $2 more. I don't know. But basically, your 6th flag is free. So I got them knowing that I can send one to Blake, I can send one when he gets back into the studio. If that ever happens, I can send one to Matt, and we can all have Mastiff Media flags for our Friday show. Plus, I've got another setup, my desktop Mac out in the kitchen / living room. It's an open floor plan. It's on the counter. And I have that there. So I call that the auxiliary studio because I'm important. What does Sportcat say? I'm kind of a big deal. And then, of course, I've got other MB7s that I could set up here in a moment's notice. But I have in-studio guests, which because of the fact we're getting into local politics here, not only in Pennsylvania. Last week we had Rain Reitnauer as a guest virtually. We'll be able to have local county commissioners and other local state politicians here in the studio if they prefer to visit the studio and not do it virtually. So there's that. I think they're supposed to be finished and shipping today or tomorrow. I think they're finishing today, according to the email that I had. They're finishing today, shipping tomorrow, and I guess coming from like the Carolinas, I think they are later this week. So we still got two other things to do. One, the usual. They're both usuals, but we've got Pierre's pot. We got to get that in. And I don't have a graphic for it. I got to make one for morning motivation. There's a Mastiff Media logo in the corner, watermark on top of a Mastiff Media overlay with a Pierre's pot overlay. If I cut the virtual camera, yeah, there it goes to that. I don't like that. I'm just playing. We do got to do Pierre's pot, today's toast of the morning sauce. That goes to Phoenix Pest Control. They're not a sponsor. They should be. And I think we'll certainly approach them in the near future. Phoenix Pest Control. I met this guy, Don, at a networking group that's here in the Hernando, Pasco, Pinellas County areas. And Don Wright is one of the bosses there. And they demand from themselves 5-star service. And recently, we've had an influx of what are called palmetto bugs. Imagine a cockroach. For those of you outside the Florida area, imagine a cockroach about 3 inches long and flies. That's a palmetto bug, and it is technically a cockroach. We have seen them rarely inside the living space of the house, usually because they get in through an open door. Like, we literally watched them fly in. And like, oh, shit, got to get that now. But we've been seeing them aggressively in the garage, which has an opening. It's an open wall to the attic space where the central air is located, where there's plenty of heat and moisture, which is what they're looking for. Not so much heat as in like dry heat, but humidity and moisture. Hence why they're in the garage a lot. And I saw one as recently as last night. Squashed the hell out of that. So they had already sprayed part of their 5-star service if you have another sighting between services. Like, I think it's like every quarter, every 3 months, maybe every third, maybe every 4 months. Call them, they'll come back. And so I called him Thursday afternoon because we actually saw an increase right after he was here the first time. And I kind of expected that because putting all this crap out is going to stir him up. I get that. But in the weeks that followed, they still kept coming. And okay, this shouldn't be increasing anymore. So I called him Thursday afternoon, and I don't expect them to be like right out. I don't expect to be on weekends. And I was right, and I'm fine with that. But he said, "How's Monday morning?" I'm like, great. I wasn't really expecting that. But if you're in the Tampa Bay area, hit up Phoenix Pest Control. A black background with like an orange and yellow phoenix. Phoenix Pest Control, like I said, he demands from his company, and he's actually not the actual owner. He demands 5-star service. If you don't give them a 5-star rating, they will come back and make it 5-star quality treatment. And then ask you, to address that in your rating. But, I'm happy with what we're getting. I asked, I'm here almost 3 years. Why are we just getting them in the recent months? I mean, not that I haven't ever seen them before, but until this summer, I could literally count on one hand the number of palmetto bugs I saw outside or, like I said, flew in. That's why I go to walk the dogs. I go through the garage. Because the last time I went through the front door, I opened it up, not knowing right outside was one of these palmetto bugs, and it flew into the light, which was my lit living room. I spent the next half hour while my dogs had to go pee, hunting this thing down and killing it. So now at least there's a garage as a buffer zone. The Sally Port, as we call it in law enforcement. It's a confined area. If one does come in with us, we at least know where it's at and can at least leave it in the garage, if not kill it in the garage. Well, now we're coming out into the garage from the kitchen, and we're seeing them in the garage. Well, my son, I love Zach. He's an awesome kid. Talks a good game. But when it comes to cockroaches, his manhood goes right out the window. And I get it. He's probably, he was in foster care from 8 till late 16, almost 17. So when I adopted him, so I get there's probably some less than ideal living situations that he's been in, and probably an encounter or two with the roach community. And I'm not talking about the ones that you smoke either. So Phoenix Pest Control of the Tampa Bay area, Pinellas County, Pasco County, Hernando County, Citrus County, Hillsborough County, being Tampa. Today's toast of the morning sauce is in your direction, or Pierre's pot. And that's a pot of coffee, not the Leafs that are also on the play on words. Today's toast in your direction, Don Wright. Thanks for what you did. And letting us all sleep better, knowing the creepy crawlies will not be crawling in bed with us. Up next for today's Monday motivation, or morning motivation, sorry. This is a daily thing. We go through my screensavers and we figure out which one I'm going to tell a story in the remaining, what do we got? I don't know what time it is. The remaining 13 minutes. Yeah, I think I see a good one. Let's get rid of Pierre's pot because that bit is over. Where's it at? Come on. There we go. Today's inspiration is, well, that's not what I meant to do. Today's inspiration is, or motivation is Gary Vaynerchuk, if I can do this without screwing it up. There we go. Gary V says being underestimated is the ultimate stimulant. Absolutely. I mean, look at what I've done. I think we've had my quote about being told that my goals in life were ambitious. And in all actuality, that ambition became part of my past. And I've done it. Like I said then, I haven't had a normal job. Baseball umpire, hockey referee, bartender. That's kind of normal. I did construction with my dad during the summers that I also umpired baseball. That's because I had something to do during the day and he needed the help. But when it was time for me to go for baseball, I left. And he was fine. He knew that. That was the point. But now I'm in radio. And I love when people tell me, as you already know from my prior experiences, I love when people tell me there's something that I cannot do. We are on 2 terrestrial stations, 4 internet stations. And by the way, both the terrestrial stations are also on the internet. So just with that, if you want to find us, we're not only nationwide, but we're global. And then we're not on Rumble today because of not having a camera. And there's something with this new user experience on Restream. I'm glad I don't have a year account there because I might be finding something else. And I'm just going to, test user experience on some other like test broadcasts. I'm not going to go back to Riverside. I didn't like what their streaming service was. I don't know if I can go back to StreamYard because I knew they had issues with things on their end. One of their techs let that slip. And that's going on. It's just over a year ago because it was earlier this summer that my Riverside account expired. I liked Riverside for recording. When Jane and I did just pre-recorded, it was good for that because not only did it record her separately from me, so if I had to do something with the audio, I could, and it wouldn't affect the other, but also it was synced. All I did was I cut and paste her track over top of mine into DaVinci Resolve, and it's done. It's synced up. We're ready to go. Restream is not like that. You got to slide it around, check it out, see if it looks like it's right, and then hope that it is. Another reason to look elsewhere. I got a bunch of videos. I'll dig them back up. I'll see what else is out there as far as comparisons. And I'm also already with this other company that's helping me with the terrestrial stuff. They supposedly do it. We'll see what they can offer. But being on those terrestrial stations, I think, is the biggest image boost for a hobbyist turning professional like us, not just me, but us. Sportcat, David Beckmeyer, kicking ass. You heard Marcella. She and I are coming back. We were live when we did our first season this past spring. So, yeah. But I'm just going to... What I don't understand with Restream is that as I add more destinations, more platforms that I can stream to, it actually costs more, not less. So if I'm going to give, these numbers are examples, but I've studied it and tried to figure it out. If I'm paying $20 a month to be able to stream the 5 destinations, you would think that if I was paying $100 a month, or excuse me, 40, if I was paying $40 a month, I would be able to stream to 10 destinations or more. But actually, you can only stream to 8. And then $60 a month isn't 15. It's only 12. So now it's even more per destination. And I don't get that. We're paying $100 a month to go to 15 destinations at one time. And we're using 13. Only reason being, one of the others we want to go to, there's a fee that we're just not ready to absorb yet. And then the others that we have are Facebook pages that we had been streaming to. But as of this past June, we couldn't because the minimum requirement became 100 subscribers, which, by the way, go to yergz.com, YERGZ.com, and on the homepage will be a ticker of different news stories related to Yergz Radio, the Yerger Group, me, whatever. And there is a list of our social media. Follow it all, or follow what you know is relevant to your interests. But at least for the time being, follow the ones that are labeled from Facebook that need your help. That would be my personal page, Ross Yergz Yerger, Rainbow Radio, Talk TV 24, Both Sides Now, Psycho and the Psychic, and Mastiff Media. Those I know do not have the minimum 100, and we would love to stream to all of them. And I'll get the next step up beyond 15 destinations. Because it's our job as content creators, as radio presenters, hosts, podcasters, whatever. It is our job to come to you. And if somebody's going to make you come to if somebody's going to make you come, let them have it. But if somebody's going to make you come over to their platform, to their one platform, I've told you before, I had a coach last year who said, use all of your social media to drive your audience to your YouTube channel, which that's great if everybody that is your audience is willing to make that journey over and is on YouTube or uses YouTube or is familiar enough with YouTube or has an interest to use YouTube just to follow you. I said, at this time I was doing the Doggy Traders. This is probably more than a year ago. This was probably, I think, it was almost 2 years ago, actually. And they said, use your social media to drive your audience to YouTube. I said, what if my audience isn't on YouTube? This is a financial money investment type of show. What if they're on LinkedIn? And in a third, I say I was on YouTube for 3 months. I don't know what the remember what the actual numbers were, but I just remember it was this stat. In a third of the amount of time that I was on YouTube, my new Facebook page, my new LinkedIn page grew to 3 times the size of my YouTube channel. So let's say I've got 30, I'm keeping the numbers easy, 30 subscribers on my YouTube channel that have been on for 3 months. I start the LinkedIn page, and in 1 month, I get 90 subscribers. That was amazing. And I knew I was right. And in that moment, I knew that I couldn't just use OBS or one of the more less involved pieces of software or web applications, because I knew I had to get multiple destinations. That's why we're on Twitch. That's why we're on DLive. That's why we're on other destinations I don't really remember because I never heard of them till I went to Restream and saw that these are automatic destinations that you just click on and enter your username and password. Well, I went to those and created a username and password just to broadcast to. And being underestimated, being told I'm not going to make it to radio, being told you're doing too much, which I am. It doesn't mean I'm not going to pull out of it. It doesn't mean I'm not going to make this work. I will. That is part of the stimulant. That's why I'm getting up earlier and earlier every day. I want to be over here. I want to kick ass. I want to bring to all of my communities, whether it's back up in Pennsylvania, here in Tampa, or the United States, my knowledge, my truth of what I know about the Trump administration, about politics, and why, as important as the 2016 election was, and as important as the 2020 election was, this is the most important election in our nation's history. Without question. So I think I'm going to lose some. I'm realizing that I might have started early, so I might have lost WDJY already. Yeah. And good time to shut everything else down. There it is. Sorry we got cut off for our Atlanta folks, but time to end it as well. That is today's motivation. Let that being underestimated show them less than what they need to say. And let that opportunity be an ultimate stimulant. Having underpromised and the opportunity to deliver more. That's it, gang. See you again tomorrow. 1 hour tomorrow. And, looking forward to it. It is 12:02. No, 1:02. Sorry, 1:02 in Tampa, 12:02 in Oklahoma City, 1:02 in Cleveland, 6:02 in London. If they ever hear this episode at the actual time, we'll see you again tomorrow. You have been Up the Middle.